The collapse is coming. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And the fallout is going to impact each and every one of us. The warning signs are all there, flashing red, which is why today we are going to get into the AI bubble bursting, the stock market, and what's really going on underneath the surface, as well as the labor market, because there's a lot of strange news out there. Anyone else notice this? A lot that doesn't quite add up. So today we're cutting through the BS and getting to the truth of what is really happening, what's coming next, and how it impacts you. Now, first things first, the Great Freeze. I'm not sure if you've seen this term floating around or not, but over the last week, it's been everywhere. The concept that while companies aren't hiring, they're not firing either, so it's a net neutral. Nothing to worry about here, no jobs lost. Okay, propaganda if I've ever heard it, because anyone with the internet, funny enough, if you Google layoffs, guess what? In the last 2 days, UPS, 48,000 jobs, must be an anomaly. Maybe not. Paramount, 1,000. Target, 1,800. Chegg, 45% of workforce. Microsoft, 15,000 layoffs. What do you think that is? Do you think that that is no firing, no hiring, the Great Freeze? Or do you think that the companies are actually out there chopping their workforce right and left? And these are just bigger companies. What about mom and pops, I mean, listen, I don't pay that much attention to the labor stats that we get because we all know they're going to be revised down anyway. We all know that none of the data we're going to get is correct. But this seems pretty clear to me that what we are being told about this Great Freeze is incorrect, which also lines up with my own personal experience of many of my loved ones who have been applying like crazy, who have been laid off, who can't find a job to save their lives. You cannot tell me that Americans are not struggling right now to get a job or to hold on to the ones they have. People are fearful with good reason. And this is the truth. And what's more, this is the beginning. You mean to tell me, oh, this is the worst it's going to get? I don't think so, especially not with what's coming next with AI. Now, this is another one that I think is interesting. I saw this article from Fortune. Everyone thinks AI is replacing factory workers, but Amazon's layoffs show it's coming for middle management first. Now, I must have forgotten to include this one too. Amazon, 14,000 layoffs. And I don't mean to be snarky about this because I know at the end of the day, every single one of these layoffs is a real person out there who lost their job. And it breaks my heart. So my heart really does go out to everyone who's impacted by this. It's more just, again, the dog and pony show that we're given every single day about what's going on and the lies that they continue to shove at us. The Great Freeze, give me a break. There are people out there who are losing their jobs right and left. But anyway, AI. People are worried about AI coming for their jobs, right? This is something we've been told a lot. Now, I absolutely do believe that AI is going to be replacing a lot of jobs, right? It's going to revolutionize things the same way that the internet did back in the 2000s. But is it there yet? I don't know. So for me, I think that this whole AI is the reason that we're losing all these jobs is convenience. I think it's a convenient narrative to hide what's really going on with our economy and what's really going on with these companies who understand where we are headed next, right? If you know a storm is coming, what do? You batten down the hatches, right? You make sure you're prepared for the storm. That's what these companies are doing. They're trimming to make sure that they are in a position to survive what's coming next. And I think, again, this AI kind of is the reason why we're losing all these jobs. Yes, absolutely. I'm not trying to undermine that that is going to be a big thing. But I do think right now we are at the early stages, and I think a lot of it is being used as an excuse to kind of hide and cover up what's really going on. And speaking of AI, I don't know if you saw the news this week, but this was another one that caught my attention. Nvidia, right? The biggest AI company. Everyone knows Nvidia. The first company in history to reach a $5 trillion market capitalization. $5 trillion. And this comes on the heels of just 3 months prior reaching $4 trillion. Now, do you think that that is real, fundamental, sustainable growth? Or do you think that that's hype and speculation? Now, the CEO, you want to guess what he says? I'm sure you could guess. He dismissed concerns about overheated valuation, saying, I don't believe we're in an AI bubble. No, of course not. How could we be? Except for when you look at the stock market, which we're going to in just a second in the top and bottom. But this article goes on to say, which I appreciate, says here that market analysts say that AI's current expansion relies on a few dominant players financing each other's capacity. The moment investors start demanding cash flow returns instead of capacity announcements, oh, these could seize. Okay, you don't think. So right now, what's going on with AI? Basically, picture it like this. AI is in a race for growth, right? Capacity, boom, 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 boom. It's growing, it's growing, it's growing, it's expanding, it's exciting, it's speculative, it's hype. As they continue to grow and expand, the profits aren't matching, which this is not a new model for startups or for tech in general, right? Not that they're a startup now, but when you see these models of just this expansion, sometimes it pays off and the profits are there. But often what happens is it reaches this point where then people go, okay, we need profits now. And guess what? They look behind them, they're way up here, and they look down and the profits are way down here compared to the expansion that they did. Then what happens? Oh, pop of the bubble. Every bubble bursts, right? Not slowly. It's not the air being let out. It is an explosion. And when that happens, the entire house of cards can come crashing down. Now, I'm not just saying this to say this, because if we look at the stock market, and I have some charts here that I'm going to put up on screen. So if I'm looking at them, that's what I'm looking at, but you'll see it on the screen. The S&P 500 closed at its highest, breaking above 6,900 for the first time in history. Wow. Okay, that's very exciting, right? Seems like everything's great, except for the fact that a whopping 398 companies, the 500, closed red. That's interesting. So you have 80% of the companies closing red, yet the entire market as a whole is closing green. Okay, so what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that the market is extremely concentrated, and this isn't new, right? We've known this for a while, but essentially what we're looking at as these AI companies reach these massive valuations is that it's an AI painted picture of green. So when you zoom out and you look at the stock market, green, yay. But when you look a little bit closer, if you look at the details, what is it? It's red. And you can see that in the divergence between the low and the high earners, right? Everyone's closing red here. I mean, it's actually pretty insane, because the risk to you, to me, to everyone else out there is that what happens when that Nvidia or that other company, right, gets that bubble burst? Well, suddenly everything that's been holding up, I saw this meme, maybe we'll put it up there of like Nvidia holding up the market. Everything that's been holding up the stock market, making it look like it's continuing to climb, comes crashing down. We are talking about your retirement, right? Your portfolio, your savings, probably your investments that you have to live on. Can you afford to lose those? Most people I know can't. And I know a lot of people who tell me, oh, well, don't worry, I don't invest in AI, blah, blah, blah. No. What I'm trying to explain to you is that so many people I know have a majority of their portfolio wrapped up in the stock market, which it's been great. It's been treating them well. They've been earning a profit. Hooray. But what happens when it all wipes out, right? We saw in 2008, 401ks were called 201ks because they were slashed in half. People lost a ton of their retirement, and many could not afford to earn that back. There wasn't enough time. And that is why I am so insistent on making sure that everyone out there has an insurance policy in place, that you're protected against what's coming next. Another thing I saw as far as valuation of the stock market goes is the Buffett indicator. Warren Buffett had this famous indicator that essentially showed when stocks are overvalued. Today, it's at 220%. Now, this essentially divides the total market value of publicly traded stocks by quarterly GDP earnings, right? That's how we get this percentage. Now, 220%. For a reference point, 2008 was just over 100%. The dot-com bubble was 142%. Today is 220%, meaning that the overvaluation is far greater than anything we've ever seen, which is important to you because the crash will be far worse than anything we've ever seen. When we see something overvalued like this, that is when, again, everything comes crashing down because there's no fundamentals to hold it up. That is why I truly believe that so many people are waking up to physical gold and silver, something that is going to protect their wealth, that has withstood the test of time, right? It's not based on hype and speculation. It's based on true fundamental value, intrinsic value. That is something that these do not have, that this divergence, right, that's only a matter of time before it comes crashing down, does not have. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but all of these layoffs, again, just the beginning, in my opinion. What's coming next? Just the beginning. Things are going to get a whole lot worse before they get better. And my advice to everyone out there is to make sure you're protected now with physical gold and silver. Again, make sure you have your insurance policy in place. If you don't have a strategy for what's coming next that's outside of their system, because again, everything you have that's digital, everything in your bank account, everything in your portfolio, everything in your investment, right? These are all digital. They're all within the system. They can all be erased like that, right? Or if not erased, significantly reduced. Even the dollars in your wallet. What's going to happen when this crash comes? Do you think that the government is going to sit there and do nothing? Do you think that they're going to find a way to fire up the printing press? What happens then, right? You cannot create more units of a currency without devaluing the existing units of currency. What I'm trying to say is that there are so many ways out there that people store their wealth. I'm sure many of you can relate to this, but it's not really diversified if everything is within the dollar, if everything is digital. That is why, again, if you do not already have a strategy with physical gold and silver, now is the time to do so. If you want to learn more about how gold has protected people for hundreds of years through different currency resets, right? Like the one we're living through right now, you can download our incredible free Built to Endure report. There is a QR code on the screen. You can scan it. Again, it is totally free. We made it free because we believe everyone should have this information. There's also a link down below in the description. You can click and get your copy. And ITM Trading, we are a full service physical gold and silver dealer. So if you have any questions, if you are ready to buy gold and silver and create a strategy with gold and silver, call us at the number below, or again, scan the QR code to set up a time that works for you. Whatever is easiest, just make sure you're protected. And as always, I so appreciate you being here. I'm Taylor Kenny with ITM Trading, your trusted source for all things gold, silver, and lifelong wealth protection. Until next time.